now Clementine's alone. This is the part where this is the part of the entire, I think, episode where my heart just sank and just broke, even more so than later on, just because um, it just felt like you could feel how alone she was because she didn't know where Krista was. The one friend that you thought she was going to have for a while had had to be taken down, and she's bitten, and she is completely defenseless.
Wait, just to point out, it was the right hand she got bitten on, right? The right arm?
Left. I think it was the left.
Yeah, I think it
But
was
she
left.
starts, like, the voice actor for Clementine did such a good job because she starts crying slash weeping, and it was that point where I thought that I just wanted to give her a big hug at that moment because she was just literally losing hope because
Yeah.
she's lost in these woods, doesn't know what she's going to do, how she's gonna survive, and oh yeah, by the way, I'm gonna pass out, and oh yeah, by the way, there's some walkers coming up to you, and
That was
Well,
actually one of my favorite scenes in the whole episode. It
mhm.
was like the lowest point you've ever been at, and it just broke my heart to see it, just like you, Hark.
yeah, and just a regretful and some regretful truth into this. You know, when you said that she's alone, like after she has to put down Sam, you could say that she is alone again after she gets separated from Krista. You feel that loneliness for a while. Then she meets Sam, and now when you put Sam down, you're like, oh, now I am really alone. And you really, yeah, it's like, oh, you're going to be alone for, oh, no, you won't be. Oh, nope, you're alone again. Just deal with it. And I agree with Lakusiach. I like that lowest point. You feel her sad, crying, she's alone, and you feel like, yeah, I feel like I've had that lowest point in my life where you're alone and you want to cry.
People, touching on the loneliness aspect, people made fun of this. I mean, including myself, in their Let's Plays, is that Clementine started picking things up from Lee, including talking to herself
Mm.
while she's going through this. And I feel like, yes, you can make fun of someone for talking to themselves, but I think it's a really good mechanism to maintain your
Your
sanity
sanity?
and or um, just to maintain some sense of hope, I guess. And you'll notice that when when she kills Sam or leaves Sam behind, she doesn't go, "It's all right, Clementine," or "It's all right, everything's gonna be okay," because you do that. You kind of talk to yourself to reassure you, and she doesn't. She just starts crying, and for me, that was another indication as to her, like, just starting to give up. Is that she kind of stopped using that mechanism of talking to herself or reassuring herself of things.
I just felt like it's the lowest point anyone can get that. You feel like you are helpless, and you are
Hmm.
helpless in this situation, and you don't know how you can react to that situation. You're like, wow, that does hit me.
And I think, yes, it hits you as a player too. I mean, I think that not only does Clementine feels helpless, the player feels helpless too, because this entire time you're trying to guide her, and like at that moment, I was like, you know what? I don't know what to do. I don't know what you should do,
Yeah.
Clementine. Like, I mean, I wish I could, wave a wand and have something magically appear to take you away from all this, but I honestly have no clue what you should do now. And, Clementine does inevitably get
Collapse.
rescued
Then,
by
then
By Luke and Pete.
Luke and Pete, and I called this. As soon as Clementine got bit by Sam, I
yeah,
knew somebody would find her at some point and
a
think that it was
mistake.
a walker bite.
Yeah,
I,
same here.
Oh God, I felt like I was I feel a little like a disagreement with Angel Arts. I felt like at that lowest point, like she's trying to escape, she's trying to run. When those people came, I thought they were gonna be like bad people at first. Like they're gonna take
mm,
her away, they're gonna
Mm.
they're gonna treat her like a little bit of a servant, or they're gonna make her like clean up after themselves in a way, like a
mm,
slave in a way. I felt like they were
mm.
bandits in a way.
which very well could have been a possibility. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
So your guy. So yeah, I guess continuing on. I guess off of that, what were your guys' initial take on them, just in the conversation leading up to when Luke notices the bite?
I just thought they were really nice people. I mean, you haven't met too many nice people in this game. And so these two come up and seem really, really nice. And they seem genuinely nice. Not like some bandits or something like that.
Not like nice in a suspicious way, you mean?
Yeah. I think I can trust them.
Well, for me, I disagree with Lucios. I felt like, although they were nice, I felt a little suspicious. I mean, I felt like they were nice guys. Yeah, they're good people, but I think they were being nice to their own inner circle, and they're going to only be that, and they're going to be a little suspicious, which I will not talk. I'll talk about that later. But you would feel that suspicion that when you meet new people, they maybe trust each other, but do they really trust you? And I felt like, okay, hold on.
That is a different. Yes.
I'm an outsider coming in on all this, and
yeah.
Exactly, because we already know, what it was like when Lee and Kenny were bringing new people into the group before, like for example Ben and whoever you brought with Ben in episode 2. So like you can be perfectly nice people in a group, but if you're an outsider, if they don't know you, like
there will be
right. And it shows. So that comes into play when they take Clementine into the group, into the house, and you see all these people, and I think it's very overwhelming because you meet all these characters all at once. But I think that again is a good move on the writer's point of view because it shows the confusion and the that Clementine's probably feeling, being overwhelmed by all of a sudden all these people surrounding her, trying to decide her fate.
Yeah, I wouldn't blame the group for the deciding the fate part because when you see a bite, you're gonna get really freaked out. Is that a zombie bite? Is that a dog bite? We don't know. We've got to bring in a doctor to make sure it's true.
I think it's very easy for a player to completely be on Clementine's side the whole time and seeing this other group as the bad guys or
because you're her
being
and you want what's best for her and
being upset at the group for taking whatever precautions that they're taking. But I think that it's important to take a step back and just realize if the situation was reversed, I don't think it's really far-fetched that people would or should take whatever precautions necessary because like I said, she's completely, they don't know who she is, and little girls lie. They lie. I mean,
Quote Angel Arts 2014.
Anyone lie. I mean, you don't have to be a little girl. You can be. I mean,
survival.
Right. You're going back to what Chuck said in season 1. You're not a boy. You're not a girl. You're not old. You're not young. You're either alive or you're dead. Yeah. And that's just the way you have to see everybody in the world now, in order to survive.
I'm gonna actually point out something before anybody says something. I felt like it was a very important decision when they're carrying her and they're saying, where did you come from? Did you know anybody? And you either say I got separated, I'm alone, or I am with a group. I actually chose that I'm alone because when you look at that situation, you're like, you are alone in that world now because you don't have anybody with you anymore, or you don't know where Krista is, so she's either dead or alive, and you're at that point alone. I found it very unique. Are you lying to the group that you're alone, or are you telling them a little white lie, saying I'm with a group, I'm just gotta get back to them, and yada.
And not saying that I didn't see the deeper side of that, but I do know that I chose to say I got separated because I didn't want them to start treating me as if I was all alone because I felt like they would take advantage of that. So I did. In a sense, it was technically not lying. I didn't say, I was in the group of 50 people. No, I told the truth. I got separated, whether it be by death or I was separated from them, and because I wanted them to treat me as if there are people still out there that could get back at them if anything bad befalls me.
Right.
Yeah.
I wanted to tell the truth because I feel like every time I didn't tell the truth in the first season, it always came back to bite me in the butt because some character would find out that I had lied and then they wouldn't trust me afterwards.
Yeah.
So
And that
that's
freaking
why I'm trying
stranger
to
scene.
yeah, that's why I'm trying to keep to the truth as much as possible, unless I absolutely have to lie. So.
Well,
So what did you
okay.
tell them?
Okay. Well, go ahead, Luke. Go ahead, Luke. Lucky Jack.
No, I was just saying, Kathleen. So what did you tell them when you said you told the truth?
Well, I think I said that she got separated. So, because I felt that was the most truthful thing to say. So.
Well, I'm actually gonna disagree with you, Kathleen. In some situations, in a zombie apocalypse, I don't know if anybody's gonna side with me. You don't want to always tell the truth. If you do, you're gonna end up you're gonna be in big trouble.
Of course not.
So
in real life, if I was really in this situation, I would lie a lot. Honestly, because I would not trust anyone. But I think the way this game goes, it kind of punishes you for lying. So I don't want to get punished from the game.
Which is why I really hope that the developers catch wind of that, so that maybe sometimes you'll be rewarded if you lie and you're punished if you tell the truth.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know? But I think the game sort of did that a little bit, not with lying, but in 400 Days, sort of. Where if you decided to let during Shell's storyline.
What choice are you talking about?
We're talking about letting the guy go, letting the guy that you
that's Shell's.
go or not.
Oh, no.
Yeah, that is Shells.
Like I think it I mean it didn't punish me per se because the aftermath is the same either way, but while I was playing the game, I felt like just because I took the humane or paragon choice, you know, I paid for it. Like people still died and got punished for it.
And I chose to kill. I actually chose to kill him because I didn't want to put a risk in.
Gotcha.
And then Boyd actually survives later. And
Boyd survives because of that.
Boyd does survive, and
gotcha.
I was like, huh.
Interesting.
But then again, that's just choices. That's anyway.
Yeah, they did really well with that.
Mm-hmm. So they make so Nick, when you first met Nick, before you learn about him later in that heartfelt conversation at the table, guy with the gun, what were you guys all thinking about that?
Well, actually, I think that whole scene was very well made because you start at once forming an opinion on each of the characters. Like Nick is this hot-headed guy. You have the doctor who's very heartfelt. You have Alvin, who seems very nice. You have his wife, who seems to be a total
you know what?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But knowing Telltale, they are like multi-layered characters. They behave like they do for a reason, not because they're just like evil, because they have a reason to behave. And you know, we see later on that people are not always as they seem to be.
Yeah, I love the way that the Telltale writers create these separate groups because they make it a point to make sure that every single character is different and has different opinions and they see the world in a different way. I mean, you saw it with Kenny versus Lily. You even saw it with Kenny versus Katja, his wife. Even though they were husband and wife, Katja and Kenny didn't always agree, and they all had. That's why I love the way that they form these groups because it really helps to show not only how different people react in the world around you, but also how they react to each other.
Yeah, no two characters were ever just grouped together.
Exactly. Just out of curiosity, there's a point in that conversation where Clementine has the option to appeal to someone in the group. You can pick.
That part.
And I didn't realize that you only had one choice. Like as soon as you picked someone, that was the one that she appealed to, and then the conversation kept going. Just out of curiosity, which one of those characters did you have Clementine appeal to, and why?
First off, I want to point. I agree with you, Angela. I got a little annoyed of that. I was like thinking, well, if I'm gonna try and get people to appeal with me, I'm hoping I can get more than one person. Why is it just gonna be just one person I have to appeal to?
Make your bets there. But okay, so Carson, who'd you do?
I'm gonna probably guess. Do you want me to go first?
Sure.
No. It's just like who did you appeal with?
Who'd you appeal to?
I appealed to the doctor dude, the Carlos dude. I felt that was the logical choice. He knows. I thought medical wise, or medical experience wise, if he's checking out the bite wound, he probably is going to be the only one who can speak out to the group and says, okay, it's not a bite, It's not a zombie bite. It's the dog bite.
That makes
we can
sense.
We can let her in. She's safe. I thought that was the best way to go at it.
Same here. I chose Carlos because he was the closest one to me. He seemed to be the most
leader-like,
level-headed, stable guy who could. Because everyone else, including Alvin, seemed like at a moment's notice they could just turn as well as they were just opinion away of killing me. Yeah. He seemed to be the guy who sort of took more thoughts into account before making a decision, so I chose him. But then I chose what I thought was gonna be like, help me, please. But no, then Clementine took a really sassy tone with it. It's like, you're a doctor, aren't you supposed to help me? He's like, Clem, whoa, hold on now.
I noticed that too. You're a doctor, help me.
No, all I want to say was like, help me. Like, it was like, help? Was like, oh, okay, maybe.
Nice.
Maybe you want to. Okay, so that was who I appealed to. You guys.
I appealed to. I kind of panicked at this point, so I just grabbed the first friendly face.
And who was that?
And you was friendly to me, and that was Luke, just off to my right. Like, help me! They're gonna cut off my arm. But when I clicked him, these dialogue choices popped up that didn't make any sense for me. I don't know if you other guys.
I've had a couple of times like that.
And you had like these sad eyes.
Yeah.
Oh, the sad eyes.
Yeah, but the other three, I didn't know if I had finished the conversation before they made sense because I didn't really understand them at all.
With me, unfortunately, I had problems with the controls. I think it was a glitch or something where it was unresponsive, and this happened a couple of times. I hope they fixed it. But I tried to appeal to Luke, and nothing happened. So I appealed to nobody.
And what happened?
Nothing happened. She didn't appeal to anyone. So
it's the same. So it's the same result either way.
Yeah. Yeah.
And what about you, Angel Arts?
I also appealed to Luke only because he was the one that I thought I mean, he was either going to be Luke or Pete, but I felt like I was already in really good graces with Pete, and so I thought Luke, I was starting to get into good graces, and I figured if I could get Luke on board with me, then that was two people, like because Pete was already on board with me, that'd be two people that I was on board with. But his response was more like, I'm already on your side, kid. You don't have to appeal to me. So I was like, oh, well, I wasted that then. So I wasted that. But
why would you talk to me? I'm on your side.
But David, I have to say, I'm a little. While I was watching your Let's Play, I was watching it very carefully based on some of the dialogue choices that you were making, because I remember during our last podcast when we were talking about Walking Dead Season 1, you were telling me that you were going to have a hard time role-playing as a little girl.
Yeah.
You would have a hard time. But then you kept choosing the choices like sad eyes. And I'm like, that is such a little girl tactic. Anyone who wants to play the innocent little girl card, that's what they would pick. And then you picked it, and I was like, David, that's interesting. I think you're learning very quickly.
He was summoning his inner little girl.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I was
Taking advantage.
projecting myself.
I honestly thought that you would pick some of the other ones. The sad eyes was, I thought, the last thing you would pick, and so
that was probably because I didn't quite understand the rest of the choices. So.
But I think you did it again. You did it again later on in the story during the conversation that you have with Luke. But we'll get to that later. So.
Yeah.
So unfortunately, no matter what you pick for appealing, it's gonna be the same thing either way. Which again, had I known she was gonna be sassy, I would have probably picked someone else. But...
Yeah. Okay, so the conversation with the group is over. They make the decision to put her in the shed. I think all of us pretty much agree that if we were in their situation, we would probably be cautious. Do you think, though, that putting her in the shed over the night was the right call?
Well, what I thought at first here was that they put her in. They're gonna put her in the shed to see if she gets a fever. And I'm like, she has a huge bite on her arm. She's gonna get a fever.
Yeah.
For some reason or another.
That's unavoidable at this point. And I'm like, okay, so I'm dead either way.
You're putting her out there where she's gonna catch a cold or something, and then it's.
I agree. I would think any doctor would know that too.
Yeah.
So, bit of a flip.
Maybe overly cautious. I don't know.
Maybe the doctor just expected her to die. Like,
Oh,
maybe he's a more
harsh.
evil person
Like she had
than we
given up
think
on
he
him?
is.
That's true. Maybe Carlos
I don't know.
intended for her to die because just to make sure, again, just to be super cautious.
And
Well-
again, this may or may not.
Go ahead.
So I'm actually about to say I'm going to put it off to later because it might play into Carlos's relationship with Sarah.
Okay.
But I have a theory about if we're going to follow this theory of perhaps maybe he did think she was going to die regardless.
Gotcha.
I'll give my 2 cents there. So Carson.
Carson, go ahead.
Yeah, well, putting her in the shed, I think I agree with the group a little bit. In any situation like that, you would consider it being like a cautious stance. You would want to do that. Who wouldn't? What kind of person wouldn't do that? You see a bite, you're very suspicious. What would you do? You put her in the shed. But in my case, I feel like, okay, let's make a deal. We'll patch up your wound, then we put her in the shed. And if she does build up the fever because the disease is already inside her, then she'll turn. But yeah, I agree with Lucucia. She's dead either way if she didn't patch up that wound.
They should have at least removed all of the things that could have caused the fever, just so they could, deduce that it was because of a zombie bite why she would have gotten a fever, not anything else.
Yeah, but then there's the whole the whole point of we don't want to waste
Wasting
supplies,
medical.
and really it's as cruel as it sounds. Nobody's obligated to give her the benefit of the doubt.
Yeah.
To use up their own supplies to check to see if accurately if it actually was a zombie bite or not. So
we're in the shed now.
We're in the shed.
Cold. We found some fishing wire. Got a hammer. Busted up the shed. I'm surprised no one heard the noise.
yeah.
I wouldn't expect it.
And we're sneaking to the house.
Yes.
How was that for you guys? How did you guys approach going? Because looking, I was like, there's a lot of choices I could get into this house with, and
there are multiple
for a
ways.
while.
Yeah.
I
So-
actually, I'm pretty sure Angel has watched all my Let's Play videos. Did you?
Yes, I did.
If you hear me, like when I'm sneaking into the house, you hear me sing my little ninja song, like ninja time, ninja time. I was like, I am a ninja. This is awesome. How am I
I'm
gonna
just
get into
imagining
this
Clem
house?
sing it to herself. What are you doing?
Well, here's a
Do
question. Go ahead, Kathleen. Go ahead.
Do you pretty much have to go? So there is multiple ways because I went through. I went under the floor or whatever,
Yeah, I did that too.
and then went through a floorboard.
Yeah, I checked the
So-
wiki. There are 3 other ways you could have. I think you could have. No, I don't think you could have gone to the front door. But I think there was another one where you knock on the window, you
Yeah.
get Alvin's attention, and then Alvin would barter and get you some medical supplies that way. That was another way you could have gotten the supplies and go
okay.
into the house.
Yeah.
But yeah, I went under the floorboards as well. As the
Alvin-
sneakiest way.
Alvin also gives you like a juice box or something
Yeah, that too.
that I
It's
guess.
like-
Well,
Yeah.
he's a nice guy in the end.
Yeah, I ended up not doing that, so I actually didn't really get to know Alvin's character that well during my playthrough, which is a shame, but hopefully we will in episode 2.
Yeah.
How about you,
Um,
Dave?
Yes, floorboard like everyone else.
Okay. We're stealthy people. We think outside the box.
Yeah.
I'm
Did
not
anyone-
a stealthy person.
Does anyone know what happens if you do try to go through the front door? I mean, I obviously thought that's not something I would do, but
I think everyone was like, that's not an option.
Yeah.
But I'm curious. I'll look up on YouTube or something later and figure out what happens. But I imagine they would either shoot you on the spot, or that you would see that they're all in the kitchen already having their
That might-
discussion, or
true.
worst case scenario, they just send you back out to shit like, how'd you get out? And then they board it up again. But then point and click adventure game logic, you can just break it down
We'll see.
again anyway.
we'll see.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you're in the house, and that was a tense moment for me in the house.
Yeah, because part of me wanted to stick around and listen to their conversation, their little meeting conversation. The other part of me was like, wait, I need to get supplies and get out of
Get
here.
in, get out.
I didn't do that. I didn't listen in because my theory was if they know I'm in the house, they're gonna kick
Yeah.
me out, or they're gonna leave me to die out there. So
Or kill
I,
you.
yeah, they'll
They'll
kill
kill you,
me.
probably.
So I just wanted to get the supplies and get the hell out.
Yeah.
But now I regret. I saw your Let's Play, Angel. I regret not listening in.
What were they talking about actually? Because I kind of had a split. I think I did the same thing as you, Angels, but I left like probably sooner than you left when you were listening to the conversation. What were they talking about?
It was just them deciding what they were going to do with the girl, what they were going to do with Clementine. And I don't know if they really got anything. I think they started touching a little bit on Carver, but not really mentioning his name or anything like
But
that.
could you,
we need to get into Carver.
But could you discern anyone who's taking definite sides in favor of you?
I don't remember the conversation very well, but I feel like yes. I mean, I think that Pete and Luke were still on Clementine's side, but I don't remember past that who else was taking sides. That is really interesting, though. I'd have to find the full conversation.
Okay.
And see.
But I was like slowly walking up the stairs, like, creak. Why are you creaking?
The little thing with the duck, I thought, hit me in the feels right away.
The duck? Where's that again?
She sees the picture of a duck, and then it made Clementine remember duck.
Oh, yeah.
I actually missed that. I missed that.
Aww.
I remember that. I was like, oh no.
It's
I
okay.
was like,
There was a subtle thing.
My face was like, why do you do this to me?
The kid who looked like Sid from Toy Story. No.
Dave didn't like ducks, so he was like,
Did Okay, so did you guys hear the conversation
scene?
that pregnant lady was having with
Yeah,
herself in the bathroom?
Yeah, the bathroom scene. Yeah, I heard that. I was like, whoa.
Yeah.
let it
And she
be
doesn't-
healthy, let it be his, or something.
Yes.
Yeah.
She was questioning whether it was what's his face, and
Alvin's.
It was Alvin's, and checking, and if you. And from the next time on The Walking Dead for episode 2, it looked like that was going to be addressed as well a little bit more.
Yeah.
Because I think she's married to Alvin. I think she and Alvin are.
Yeah,
husband and wife.
it states
Yes.
that she's married to Alvin.
So the
But-
question. So who do you think the other he could be?
Someone else. I don't think it's anyone in the group.
The Carver, maybe?
Yeah,
Could be Carver.
I figured it
That
was
would be
Carver.
really bad. That would be really bad.
Well, if it was not Carver, my guess would be Pete, and I'm sorry I have to throw that out.
I mean, it could be Pete. That's
But-
interesting.
So we get the needle. Then for all of us because we all went in the house, we meet Sarah.
Wait, before we go
Yeah.
into that,
Okay.
I do have to ask, what did you guys hide in the bathrooms?
I hid in the cabinet
Oh, I did too.
In the cabinet.
because the shower curtain just seemed too obvious. Because I actually have this thing of when I go in a room and the shower curtain's like,
Yeah, I open the shower curtain when I go in the bathroom too.
so yeah, it's just so it was a reflex. So I was like, I'm not gonna let that reflex get the better of me.
David, where did you go? Where'd you hide again?
the shower curtain.
We would have found you immediately. I would have found you immediately if I went in, even if I was getting a toothbrush.
I hid in the shower curtain, and immediately I thought, oh, darn it, I should have hidden the closet because well, this was my reasoning. The linen closet was completely empty. So it's like, most likely, they're not going to need to open it because, unless they're trying to put something into the linen closet, but if it was empty to begin with, I doubted that. So, but I'm glad that I didn't get caught for hiding in the bathtub.
Yeah.
So,
Kathleen
Well,
would
that's
have
that.
found you. Shh, who are you?
You know what's funny? Okay, this is kind of random, but because I instinctively check the behind shower curtains whenever I go use someone's bathroom, for
Yeah.
some reason, I one time opened someone's shower curtain and there was this huge bunny statue in the person's shower, and it scared the crap out of me.
What is this, Earthbound now?
Wow.
Why the heck was there a bunny statue in the shower?
I have no idea. I think it's because they cleaned their home and they didn't have anywhere to put it, so they were like, "Oh, we'll hide it in there till the guests go away."
I
Yes.
immediately, as soon as you said that, Kathleen, I immediately pictured that bunny in the poster right behind you.
Oh,
Yep. Nope.
Hello.
Because that's pretty creepy, too.
that would be. So,
Okay, so we get
Sarah.
to Sarah.
Yeah,
Meet
let's
Sarah,
talk about
yes.
Sarah when we meet her the very first time.
People are gonna be mad at me. I can already tell. I can already tell they're gonna be mad at me for this.
Go ahead.
Oh.
Go ahead.
I think, and this could just be me because I am, and maybe I just have some. I think she might be slightly autistic.
Okay.
Or have some social disorder around that. Only because I myself am autistic, have Asperger's, and have been exposed and know, I guess, certain tells around people. Again, this is just me completely being presumably. It could just be how they wrote the character, and it's not in that exact manner. But part of me gets that vibe off of her.
Yeah.
But,
Yeah.
And immediately it gets quiet. I was like,
No, I can totally see that. I can totally see that.
I think that was definitely implied in the conversation that you end up having later with Carlos.
Yeah.
I didn't think about that specifically until my conversation with Carlos, though.
Okay.
But here's what I want to ask: Did anybody like do the little pinky promise, like I want to be your friend thing with her, or did anybody say no?
I did, and I was like, come on, just get it over with, Pinky.
Yeah.
She was way too eager for my tastes.
Yeah.
So naive. And I don't like lying to people. Like, I was always like, I don't know.
You just like
those choices, like, maybe.
so David, you were playing hard to get.
Yeah, totally.
She was too eager for me, and I was like,
You're
okay, that's
Sorry, Sarah, but I kind of want someone who, is a little more reserved.
But now see, I was afraid that if I didn't go 100% with her, that she was gonna turn around and whine or do something like that to the adults downstairs. That I didn't go. And I was like, sure, whatever, get out.
That was me.
She gave me a really creepy vibe, and to be perfectly honest, I think I was more placing myself in the situation and not Clementine into the situation. So I ended up not doing the pinky swear or not promising to be her best friend forever because I just got this really awkward vibe from her that it was too uncomfortable for me to accept it. But
what happened? As a
What
result,
does she do now? What does she do?
I think what ends up happening is my first response to her was, sure, we're friends. And then she's like, do you promise? Like, as soon as she used the word promise, I was like, sorry, I can't. I'm not sure if I either outright told her I can't promise or I just said nothing. I think I just remained silent.
Okay.
And then she didn't even bring up the pinky promise. She just when I just didn't say anything, she just dropped it and then was like, well, you should get out of here then. And I started saying, well, please, I'm gonna die. Can you please help me out? And she ends up giving you the bandages.
Oh yeah, she does that anyway, I think.
Yeah.
She gives you the Pepto-Bismol, I think it is, or something like that.
Peroxide
The
peroxides or something.
Yeah,
Peroxide.
Pepto-Bismol.
yeah. Pepto-Bismol is for your stomach.
I know, that was the wrong one.
Just remember,
Peroxide.
whenever you have a gash in your arm, Pepto-Bismol. Gotcha.
Maybe once she turns into the walker, Pepto-Bismol might help a little bit.
Possibly with those dead organs. What about you, Kathleen? What'd you do?
I did the pinky promise thing just because I was like, I just got to get this over with to get the peroxide, and I feel kind of bad for that. But I could tell there was definitely a contrast going on there, and I think that's why they introduced her character of like the whole innocence experience thing. And Clementine, you could tell she was kind of like annoyed. She was like, hey, no, like I'm dying. I need like medicine right now. Yeah. And I could almost sense her kind of rolling her eyes as she was doing the pinky swear thing.
Same here.
You bring up a very interesting point there, Kathleen, because you have these two young girls, these two young ladies. Sarah's actually slightly older than Clementine.
That's what I was going to mention. How old is Sarah? She looks like she's in her mid-teens, and Clem's like 13 or 14.
Go ahead.
My guess is 14, maybe.
I was thinking 14 as well. 13, 14, probably 15 at the absolute oldest.
And Clem's like 10, right?
Clem's
I think so. 10,
Clem's like
16.
12.
So 16. No. She was 9 at the end of season 5.
Correct. She just turned 9. She just turned 9, and then Krista gets really pregnant. And then 16 months after that. So she's like 11.
11 at the oldest, yeah.
Yeah.
And Sarah actually mentions this. She says, like, we're the same age.
Right.
And I answered, like, we're not the same age. You're much older than me.
Yeah.
To be honest, I was like, I don't think we're the same age, Missy. You're a little bit bigger than me.
But
yeah.
But yeah, okay. George, back to what you were saying about the two girls.
What I was trying to say is that the contrast is pretty apparent between the two, even though Sarah is the older one, in terms of maturity, like maturity in a survivor sense, because Clementine has gotten to the point where she's pretty much left her innocence. She had to leave her innocence behind, and she's so focused on what she needs to do to survive. Whereas you have Sarah here, who's still in her own little world. Not necessarily by her own fault. A lot of it, I think, has to do with her father, too. And it's just interesting to see those two girls interact and just seeing how different they are in terms of how they see the world.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, even though it seems in this environment that the other girl, what's her name again, Sarah?
Sarah.
Sarah, her her outlook on life may seem inappropriate for the world, but that they're in. But honestly, she's worried about the kind of things that young girls should be worried
That's
about,
true.
you know? And Clementine doesn't have the luxury of worrying about silly things like pinky promises and what book she's reading. She has to worry about surviving and living through the night.
Yeah.
So do you believe that one of them is disillusioned then? Almost like.
I think she is disillusioned. Like, she still thinks that she doesn't know about the zombie apocalypse world that she's living in now. I think she's still stuck in that little perfect world that she's living in, and her dad's keeping her in that sheltered life. And this is what I was going to get at. I think that her dad the more the dad shelters her from this world, the more she's not going to be able to grow up, and she's still going to be that little kid that we can see. Or from what Lucky Jack pointed out, was that she might be still a little bit autistic in that sense.
I know that this happens later on, but I think it's relevant to what we're talking about with Sarah, with Carlos, because he tells Clementine specifically to stay away from her, and that she's not like you. So,
That's what I was
do you think? I guess, what do you guys believe? Do you believe that Sarah actually is different from Clementine in that she actually might have a social disorder of some sort, or do you think that she's perfectly normal, but her dad's just being very overprotective?
Who wants to go first, or should I?
You can go ahead, Carson.
Okay. I think, I don't know if I'm going to get chewed out for this, or I have to choose one or the other, but I want to actually say both, really. I think her dad is a little bit overprotective in a way, because you could see that clearly when you see Clem and Carlos having that conversation. But when you have that conversation with Sarah, you realize she isn't normal at all, and
Not
she's
in the right mindset.
Yeah, like, not in the right mindset. You could say that it's a little bit of both.
Is it?
I get you first, Kathleen.
Go ahead, Kathleen.
Okay. One thing I really want to suggest is maybe this world is what made her the way that she is. You know, maybe that's like become. I mean, it could partially be because her dad's overprotective, but maybe it's something like she's ignoring what's going on as well.
Like a defense mechanism.
You know, like some like victims of like abuse and stuff will sometimes like retreat into like this like youthful state. Like even their voice is sometimes like they'll be an adult, but they'll have like the voice of a little child. And so I wonder if that might be part of it too. Is like her retracting into this like state of innocence because of the trauma of living in this like world, you know.
And I forget if they touched upon it or not, but would it have anything to do with the possible, or at least current whereabouts of her mom in the situation? Do you think that might? Because I don't. Do they ever address what happened to her mom?
No.
They never did.
That's a really good question. I never thought about that. Never thought about her mom.
But yeah, and again, just as a third, possibly we're overthinking. I don't know. As a third thing, it could also be him saying she's not like you. She's not all gritty, innocence lost. She's not like you in that regard. She still can have some semblance of a normal life. That could also be what he meant. And
she doesn't want Clementine influencing her in a way that he thinks is not appropriate for her.
Which I was thinking might have been why he locked her in the shed. Why, if we're going to follow the mentality or the theory that he possibly did it on purpose,
to protect her.
To protect Sarah from a girl who was just around her age that he didn't want her bonding with, having a stronger bond possibly than between him and Sarah.
Yeah,
that's interesting. How about you, David? What do you think?
I just think that he's very overprotective, and she's just innocent to the world around her, and that almost made me angry because he's not doing any favors anywhere. I mean, she needs to grow up and fast, or she's dead. Like this is not the way
I said that too.
Yeah, and I was just really, you're not telling your daughter about this. I was just, no, I'm going to tell her the moment I can all about the horrible things out there. Either she breaks or she survives. So, yeah.
Whether she breaks or not, it's going to have to, unfortunately, be for the better that she knows what is now going to have to be what she has to do now to live and survive. What is
The one
expected
thing
of
is
her.
this, though. The one thing is this: is she gonna break in like this mentally unstable thing? Let's say if Carlos dies in a future episode, I'm not saying anything. Is she gonna have like that mental unstable mentality that she can't, stay sane, or she really extremely broke the point of breaking and getting a little bit toughened up and hardened, or is she going to go to the next level and say, I am completely cuckoo without my dad?
So she could shut everything down. Her defense mechanism could kick into overdrive, and she'll just shut out everything around her and just be monotonous.
Yeah.
Whatever the word is.
Well, so be it.
Whatever.
I think that's a price you should be willing to pay at this point. I know I'm very pragmatic, but that's just.
Yeah.
Yeah. On one hand, on one hand, this is the guy's daughter, and of course he wants to protect her from the world, and like you said, Leclusiarch, he's probably not doing her any favors. On the other hand, you also some people who are playing the game might be trying purposely to avoid the Crawford mentality, which is, if you end up being a hindrance to the group in any way because of your condition, your physical, your mental condition, I think those are the two main things, physical or mental condition, then you shouldn't be in the group or you're a detriment to the group. And that's where I think there's that line that you have to figure out whether you want to cross or not.
Yeah.
Let's get to the
we got the proc side.
Let's get to the suturing.
Oh jeez, that's
who wants to go first?
First of all, forwarding this for everyone. Props to the voice actress of Clementine or whoever did that scene. They did a phenomenal job.
Needs an award.
With this whole episode.
She actually does have an award for best voice actress.
Thank you.
So.
Wow.
Wait, and she was the same actress as season 1, correct?
Yes.
Yeah.
So she is Telltale is just phenomenal at their voice casting, and she and her job. So
I found it painful to do that because you could feel it. Like, not physically you could feel it, but the mental pain in you could feel, and it hurts.
Because they had that new mechanism of clicking to hold and then slide at the same time, which...
Yeah.
Anyway, so your guys' thoughts on that, then I'll go, I guess.
I guess I'll go first. This scene was the one that really... I'm not going to be able to forget. Honestly, this was the most painful scene I've ever played in a game. I mean, even compared to...
Heavy Rain.
Heavy Rain with the pinky off?
Heavy Rain, I'm not going to say what that scene was. It was more painful than that. It was more painful than the torture scene in Grand Theft Auto or, the no Russian scene from Call of Duty. This was, extremely painful because we had this already established relationship with this girl, and I mean, she's a little girl and she's having to go through this horrendous thing. This would
all by herself
really traumatize anyone with a weaker mind, and especially because I think a lot of games and even TV shows would probably zoom out very violent scene like this, but they actually made us have to look at it. Yeah. And that was the most painful part, whereas we had to see it and we had to hear it.
We had to be an active participant in it.
Yeah, and we had to be the ones inflicting the pain, So it was hard. It was hard, but from a narrative standpoint, it was great. I'm glad that they did it and they didn't zoom out and get away from it. Although I did do it halfway with my eyes closed.
Yeah.
So.
Carson, what were you gonna say, Carson?
I just felt the way you inflict this pain on this girl. I mean, you have to do it. I mean, if you don't, you are gonna die. But it's just that this is not you don't want to do this. In your heart, you don't want to do this, but in your mind, you say, "I have to do this," and you feel that pain.
That's the theme of the game. Yeah.
I know, I was just thinking in my head, what hurts more probably, the peroxide or the suturing part?
It was
probably the suturing part because it's longer. I think my reaction was my first reaction was me as a grown man, I wouldn't want to do that to myself.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was
Much
like,
less
no,
being a little 11-year-old girl doing it to myself. I mean, even I think doctors, if a doctor was in a situation where he had to do that to himself, I think he or she would still struggle a little bit, have to get into the right mindset to be able to stitch yourself up
shaky a little bit.
with no anesthetic or anything to numb the pain, and with no, like, the fact that she's by herself, like there's no like moral support.
She's doing it on a wooden work table.
Right.
And
with other people in the next house who don't really have any obligation to protect her or anything.
Don't even know she's doing it, and it's just
yeah. And that to me was just, there was just so many. At that point, I had so much respect for Clementine's character, because I was like, she definitely has more balls than I do, like so much more balls.
She's got the quads.
She does.
Yeah, she does. What's your thought, Reclusiarch?
Well, it hit me pretty hard. I took a deep breath, but I just kept thinking that what I'm doing here now is a good thing,
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It is a good thing. It was very hard to see her in pain, and I kept encouraging her, like off screen. Come on, you can do it. Come on, you can do it, Clementine. I didn't look away or anything like that. Horrible scene, but for the greater good, just go through it. Just do it, girl. Just do it. She's
You're alive
tough.
now.
It makes me wonder, like, how the experience is for players who happen to be parents, because I'm sure parents have had to be in similar situations where they've had to see their children, for one reason or another, having to see them suffer, but for a good reason, for a good reason. But so I'm wondering, what a parent's perspective would have, and if I'm sure it would probably be a lot more intense for them.
Leave a comment below.
Yes.
Parent.
Yes, if you're a parent that played this game.
Well, I have 2 nephews that I care about dearly, and I would cut off any of my limbs for them. And I've watched them grow up and feel a very parental love for them. And honestly, what breaks my heart the most is, if my nephews are in trouble or if they get, hurt, the first thing I want to do is be there for them. And what really broke my heart watching Clementine is that there's no one there to encourage her, and she can't hear my encouragement, and it just breaks my heart.
As far as encouragement goes, I sort of kind of shut down for a second or so, where all I was doing was I was almost muttering, if not to her, but to myself, just, you can call it creepy, you can call it whatever the heck you want, but it was, I regress, because I've gotten stitches myself on my head. Long story short, it was a bad fall, and I sort of started trying to emulate what I know my parents and what other people were doing at the time when they were in the medical room, because I was only 8 or so when I had to get stitches. And at points, my commentary literally was just like, "Oh my gosh, you're doing so well. No, please, no. You're so strong. You can do this. You have to keep pushing through this. I can't imagine what you're feeling right now, but just know that it'll be better. Just please keep." And I was doing that over and over again. I was going this horrible scene to watch through every single step of it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it was
the zombie part.
Yeah. Did anyone else, quickly I'll say, did anyone in that zombie scene get little flashbacks to episode 1 when Lee was being first attacked by a walker by Sandra by the hammer, and when it was right on top of her?
I didn't think about that.
It drew like a parallel
me. I never thought about that, literally.
The hammer.
Because it was looming over him. I was like, whoa, look at that.
I just thought it was setting it up. When I saw that bandage drop, I was like, something's going on here. I better pick up that bandage. Oh, I knew it! I knew that zombie was coming right there.
Yeah, no one drops anything in a horror movie, and
without a reason.
Without a reason, yeah. I was like, nope, I'm not picking that up.
To be fair, the one walker that ever did get me to actually jump and be really afraid was the one that attacked Lee in episode 4. That one got me by surprise. Just because I knew it was coming too. I was like, when is it go? Oh, there's that.
Yeah.
Freaking loud music, but this one, yeah, but.
I was just glad those items were, like, those specific objects were in that shed.
Who keeps an anchor in a shed in the middle of the woods where there's just one river? Who keeps boat anchors? Like, what? But we kill them, and they're all like, and I chose to say, "Can I come in now? Is now a bad time for me to spend indoors?" And